Hello everyone, I'm T-Wise Guy, and today I'm going to guide you on how to start reading comic books. You may be very interested in reading comic books, but may be intimidated by them, and that's perfectly understandable. The continuities may be convoluted, the price of single issues is pretty high, and there's a crazy amount of comics in general. But don't worry, because you're not alone. I was this way too when I first tried to get into them. Comic books. Nowadays, I read them all digitally, and it is more convenient and accessible than ever before. In terms of what devices to use, I would highly recommend using an iPad, and I don't really recommend using a laptop. The desktop experiences for DC Universe Infinite and Marvel Unlimited, the two big ones that I use, is not nearly as good as using it on the mobile apps. Hoopla, a library service, is pretty good, and if you have Windows 11, then the Kindle app and Comixology apps are also pretty good as well. But reading comics on an iPad is just a much more universally gratifying experience. Now as for the apps that I use, the first one that I use is DC Universe Infinite. I am subscribed to the Ultra tier, which costs $120 annually, and it gives me access to comic books 1 month after they premiere in stores. There is also a lower tier that costs $70 annually, however you have to wait 6 months after they premiere in stores or on Comixology. Additionally, the Ultra tier also has many graphic novels and collected editions, as well as Vertigo titles. Vertigo, if you don't know, was the name of DC's former adult comics line. Another app that I use is Marvel Unlimited. It's $70 annually, and the release date of comics is a little bit inconsistent. Normally it's 3 months after they premiere in stores or on Comixology. However, sometimes they do early releases, which is just 1 month after they release. Now something to note is that there are a lot more publishers than just Marvel and DC, and these other publishers don't really have their own subscription all-you-can-eat service. But there are other ways to get those comics. The first one that I recommend is Hoopla, which is a digital library service that allows you to read collected editions, graphic novels, and independent comics. It's completely free of charge as long as you have a library card. However, there is a set limit of books you can borrow each month. The next service that I recommend is pretty much the king of all digital comic services, and it's Kindle/Comixology. It has access to pretty much every comic book known to man, and it also has a subscription service called the Comixology Unlimited, which gives you access to a whole bunch of comics, along with a discount for every comic that's not on the service. This, combined with the fact that there are sales every week, means that you can get comics for really low prices. And to top it all off, it also has lots of manga. And on the topic of manga, there is another service that I also recommend called Shonen Jump. This service actually gives you a ton of chapters of manga for free, and if you want all the chapters of manga that Shonen Jump provides, it's only $36 annually. The other service I recommend is Crunchyroll, which is best known for being an anime streaming service, but it also has plenty of manga on there, and that's $96 to $180 annually. Let's talk about the release and format of comic books. Typically, comic books are released in monthly installments called single issues, which are about 20 to 28 pages long. Then after 6 or so single issues, they are put in collected editions. There are 2 types of comic book series, ongoing and miniseries. Ongoing series, as their name suggests, can go on for a really long time. For example, Action Comics and Detective Comics both recently reached their 1000th issues. Miniseries, as they suggest, only run for a set number of issues, and they typically also have collected editions with them as well. Something to note is that there are many comic book series with the same name, so to combat confusion, it's important to use the years that each comic book started in order to differentiate between them. As mentioned before, there's an intimidation factor that comes into starting reading comic books, but to clear that intimidation factor, I have plenty of recommendations for where to get started. Now this is gonna go pretty quick, so I'm gonna do it rapid fire mode. Ready? Here goes. Batman Earth 1, Batman Year 1, Batman The Long Halloween, Superman Earth 1, Superman Secret Origin, Superman Brainiac, Superboy 1993, Wonder Woman Earth 1, Brian Azzarello's Wonder Woman, Green Lantern Earth 1, Green Lantern by Jeff Johns, Green Lantern Corps 2006, Green Lantern Secret Origin, which is part of the Jeff Johns run, Francis Manapul's The Flash, The Sandman by Neil Gaiman, Jeff Johns' Teen Titans, Keith Giffen's Blue Beetle, Jeff Johns' Justice League, The Authority by Warren Ellis, Justice League World's Greatest Heroes, Justice by Alex Ross, Martian Manhunter by Rob Williams, Alan Moore's The Swamp Thing, Shazam by Jeff Johns, and one of my personal favorites, Amanda Conner and Jimmy Palmiotti's Harley Quinn run. On the Marvel side, we have G. Willow Wilson's Ms. Marvel, Matt Fraction's Hawkeye, Kelly Thompson's Hawkeye, Ultimate Spider-Man, which is one of my favorite comic books ever, Venom Lethal Protector, Dan Abnett's Guardians of the Galaxy, Moon Knight 2006, Jim Starlin's Warlock, X-Men 1993, Rocket and Groot 2016, The Vision by Tom King, She-Hulk by Dan Slott, She-Hulk by Charles Soule, She-Hulk by Rainbow Rowell, Infinity Gauntlet, and Infinity War. Quick side note, Infinity Gauntlet is the one that inspired Avengers Infinity War, not the actual Infinity War comic book. For independent comics, the only one that I've read is Spawn, but I highly recommend it nonetheless. That's all for today. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like. If you want to see more content from me, make sure to subscribe. I'll see you next time, and don't forget to be awesome.